uthi mangithandwa unjani unesikhwele ukudlula bonke labafazi. Kwenzeka kanjani umuntu naye olandiwe wafica abantu bekhona kodwa angakujwayeli ukuthi naye kungenzeka ngelilanga kube khona olandwayo umuntu ofana.
So basically the reason why Upume and Mbali sat down and had this conversation was because at that time Musa wanted another child from Unombela, and Unombela was like, listen, I'm studying, I'm working, I have 2 kids to take care of, one which obviously we know that Uzenande is a special needs child who needs a little bit more attention, and at that time she had a lot of health scares as well as she needs to be a wife, she also needs to be a sister, she needs to also take care of another child who's staying at her mother's home, she needs to be a friend, she needs to also have time for herself. So if she adds another child in the equation, if she's pregnant again, unfortunately all the things that she's worked for as well as trying to make time for herself means it's not there. And instead of Musa accepting it, allowing it, and understanding where she's coming from, instead he's putting pressure, he's throwing tantrums, and he even asked Umpome to actually speak to Unombela about the fact that they need to consider having another child. And that is why she decided to tell Umpome that, listen, I don't want to add another child because of 1, 2, 3. And at the end of the day, your brother is not considering anyone's feelings. He's not putting himself in another person's shoes. He's not actually seeing how another person is feeling or how that affects them. He's not hearing me out. And that is actually when we also learned that Unombela was actually suffering with numerous miscarriages. So she did talk about how that actually took a toll on her, not only emotionally but physically, as well as she says that she did have to sit down and think about the fact that if anything ever has to happen to her, and she does have more than 2 kids, when we also know that Nombela technically has 3 kids with Usempiwe, but the more kids she has with Umusa, the more difficulty it will be for her to feel like she can actually pass away peacefully. And the reason why she said that is, she says that her 2 kids she knows that belong in the Mseleko household. Even if she has to leave, she knows that the chances that they will be allowed to come out of that household is going to be slim. So she knows that someone's going to end up being responsible for those kids. And she knows that the more kids that she has is going to be a heavier burden, So she feels like Musa is not considering that. Musa is also not considering how that might impact the kids if they are a lot. So she's just basically saying that Musa's just selfish. He only thinks for himself. He does not consider someone else, as well as he does not view her as an individual. And what she's basically saying is that she herself has dreams, she herself has aspirations. All that she is not just to become a baby making machine. She herself also wants to do other things, and she also wants to be other things. She also wants to celebrate life besides the fact that she's a nurse, she's a mother, and she's a wife. And Musa is not understanding that. He's not viewing that. In fact, at that time, he kept saying that out of all those wives, if there was one wife who prioritized her friends more than anything, it was Umbali. He even accused her, saying that, listen, Umbali will prioritize and stop everything when it comes to her friends and family, but when it comes to a family outing, all of a sudden Mbali has a sick neck, Mbali has a sick ear, Mbali has this, Mbali has that. Remember, he was also getting upset by the fact that when it's time for him to eat at 7 p.m., Umbali is still outside entertaining her friends. Umbali is still outside entertaining her mother instead of Umbali being at home. Now, it is a tricky conversation because someone's going to be like, but Umbali decided to be a wife, but Umbali knew that these are her responsibilities. When you do become a wife, you end up living the life outside. But does that mean that you are not an individual? Does that mean that all that is to you is to be a wife? But then it also comes to the conversation that if we look at it, there were 4 wives, and I'm assuming they each had like two days in a week, or one person had 3 in that week, I'm guessing. So people also might say that she should have used the other days when Musa was not available. But what people don't know is that Musa actually sees all these wives every single day. The only time he comes to you at 7 p.m. is when he's sleeping over at your house. Hence why he's had that issue of them actually not sticking to the time of 5 p.m. So if it's not your day where he sleeps at your house, you need to be at home at 5 p.m. so that he can come and say hi and see your kids for 30 minutes and go and see another wife and go and see another wife till it's time for 7 p.m. where he goes and he actually sees the wife where he's sleeping at. So irrespective if it's not their day, Musa will spend time with every single wife every single day, and that's the biggest confusion. So it could also be the fact that when it is not her day and she's supposed to be home at 5 p.m., she's not. So when I'm thinking of Umbali and Musa having issues with these things, I'm just thinking of Samke. And maybe that also could be the reason why Musa does not want an older woman, because even though Umbali is younger than Umbali is the last one, she is older than Umakumalo, and I think by a couple of years. Whereas we noticed that when it came to rules, Umakumalo never really, stayed away from those rules. Like, she stuck by Musa's rules. Yes, she could have not listened to it here and there with, like, coming home a little bit later because of work, but she never really challenged him like Unombela. So it could be a thing of Musa also wanting a younger wife because he doesn't want a wife to challenge him. He doesn't want a wife to tell him, no, I want this and that. He wants a younger wife who he can be able to groom. Anyway, we have come to the end of today's video. Do let me know down below, do you think that what Umbali is saying, that Musa does not consider the wives' feelings, or he does not view them as individuals, do you think it's going to impact Samke in the long run? Do you think that she's only going to see that later on? Because I definitely also feel like she's going to have to give up a lot. She's going to have to give up a lot of her friends. She's going to feel isolated, her family, etc., all in the name of becoming a wife. Yeah, and unfortunately, once the honeymoon stage of Samke being the new wife leaves, she's going to start feeling it. Anyway, we have come to the end of today's video. Do let me know down below your thoughts and your opinions and how you feel about the fact that Umbali feels like she is not an individual anymore. We have come to the end of today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that post notification bell down below. Till next time, love and light. Mwah. Bye.